Every so often something is discovered which makes us question how we view human history, and just how accurate our view of the world is. These are 5 mysterious, out-of-place ancient artifacts that, according to everything we supposedly know about the world, should simply not exist. Number 5. The Antikythera Mechanism. Discovered underwater in 1900, the Antikythera mechanism is thought to be around 2,100 years old, and was built in ancient Greece. Its discovery has stunned historians and scientists, as by their understanding of the world, this device simply should not exist. It has since become known as the world's first computer and is a clock-like machine that contains complex and precise gears that were supposedly invented 1,500 years after the machine was created. The precision and complexity of its gears are comparable to 18th century clocks, and the device uses a differential gear which was supposed to have been invented in the Middle Ages. Its purpose is not entirely known, but it is thought to be a device used for astronomy, as it can track the paths and positions of the Sun, Moon, and the 5 known planets at that time, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn, allowing the operator to use the machine to plot their future or past positions. Such knowledge demonstrates that people in the ancient world were fully aware that the Sun was the centre of the solar system, destroying the idea that until Copernicus, mankind believed the Earth to be the centre of the universe. What makes the mystery even more intriguing is because the device is so precise and complex, there were likely to be many other machines with similar gears and cogs. Who knows what other creations the ancient Greeks may have manufactured? Unfortunately, nothing else like the Antikythera mechanism has been found, so for the moment, the mystery remains. Number 4. The Piri Reis Map. Drawn in 1513 by the Turkish admiral Piri Reis, this fragment of map has caused controversy ever since its first discovery in a dingy museum basement in 1929, as it appears to show an accurate representation of South America long before the coastline had officially been completely mapped. The level of detail shown in the mapping of the Caribbean and South America is beyond what anyone should have known in 1513, pointing to knowledge of the New World existing long before its discovery by Columbus. The Andes Mountains also seem to be included, which indicates a knowledge of the interior of South America, which according to history should not exist. Admiral Piri Reis held a high rank in the Ottoman Navy, and would therefore have had privileged access to the Imperial Library of Constantinople, which at the time was one of the world's great centres of knowledge. He claimed to have compiled the map from various ancient sources, some dating as far back as the 4th century BC. However, the controversy does not end there. The map also shows accurate usage of longitude and latitude, which in 1513 there was no known way of calculating. Who made these ancient maps, and what other ancient knowledge has been lost? Perhaps the most remarkable claim is that the map fragment appears to not only show Antarctica 300 years before it was discovered, but also shows the layout of Antarctica before it was covered in ice, over 6,000 years ago. This has led to the theory that one of the sources for the Piri Reis map was an ancient map from an unknown prehistoric civilization that existed over 6,000 years ago. If this theory held true, it would throw everything we know about the origin of science and the history of mankind into turmoil. If you look at the map, you can see a landmass where Antarctica should be. However, it does seem to be connected to Brazil, so it could just be an inaccurate representation of the southernmost part of South America. But regardless of the accuracy of this theory, the map is fascinating and raises some serious question marks about just how much of history is indeed accurate. Number 3. The Baghdad Battery. Discussion on the Baghdad Battery first began in 1938, when a German archaeologist named Wilhelm Koenig unearthed 3 artifacts outside Baghdad in Iraq. The artifacts were over 2,000 years old and consisted of a clay jar containing a copper cylinder that encased an iron rod. On their own, these items seem unremarkable. However, it was discovered that when filled with an acidic liquid, such as vinegar, the jar can produce a charge of between 1 to 2 volts, essentially making it an ancient battery. Such a device should not exist, as it was created many hundreds of years before Volta produced the first battery in 1800. To further add weight to this theory, the Baghdad battery was found to show signs of corrosion, suggesting that an acidic liquid has indeed been used inside the jar. Modern replicas of the battery have found that it does indeed work and is not just a myth. So what could the battery have been used for? One popular theory is that the charge produced was used for electroplating, perhaps plating a thin layer of gold onto other metals. Such a skill would have been very useful in the ancient world, and the potential profits from such a device would have been good enough reason to keep the battery a secret. However, no items treated with this method of electroplating have been found from this period, casting doubt on the theory. Number 2. The Divier-Babé flute. The discovery of a bear bone at an archaeological park in Slovenia challenged the established view of Neanderthals, as well as the history of music. However, this is no ordinary bear bone. This specimen is around 40 to 60,000 years old, and remarkably it appears to have been crafted into a flute. If the bone is indeed a flute, it provides hard evidence that music existed up to 60,000 years ago, and it would be the world's oldest musical instrument. Much like a flute, the bone itself has 2 strikingly round holes, with incomplete remains of 2 more holes at the broken ends of the bone, meaning that it may have had 4 or more holes when intact. The bone's remarkable hole spacing and alignment are the reason why so many people are hailing it as the world's first musical instrument. According to an analysis made in 2000, the probability that 4 randomly placed holes would appear in line in a recognizable musical scale is greater than 1 in a million. Detailed investigation also demonstrated that the marrow had been removed from the bone, further lending weight to the flute theory. Skeptics of the flute theory claim that the holes are simply animal bites, but after extensive analysis of different animal teeth, no matches could be found for the holes in the bone. The bite theory is also further challenged by evidence that the force required for a bite to pierce holes in the bone would have caused the entire bone to split. Looking at the flute, it does seem to me as though the holes were intentionally crafted into the bone, rather than just being the result of a random animal bite. After all, music is a natural part of the human experience. What's to say that Neanderthals did not create music too? Number 1. The Baigong Pipes. In 2002, the world's attention was brought to an area in China known as Mount Baigong. Near the foot of this mountain are 3 caves, of which 2 have collapsed. The one remaining open contains a bizarre and unexplained feature. Running along the top roof of the cave is a metal pipe measuring 40 centimeters in diameter. Another metal pipe of similar size runs into the earth from the floor with just the top end sticking out. Dozens more pipes measuring between 10 and 40 centimeters in diameter were also found protruding from Mount Baigong above the largest cave. Such a discovery would not necessarily be remarkable on their own, but when you consider that they have been dated at being over 150,000 years old, the story takes a mysterious twist. After being discovered, some of the pipes were removed by Chinese authorities and analysed at a local smeltery. The results were shocking. 8% of the material makeup of the pipes could not be identified, and some of the pipes were found to be highly radioactive. When you consider that humans have only been known to inhabit the region for 30,000 years, and that those who did were nomads who never built permanent structures, these radioactive metal pipes, made from an unknown material dated at 150,000 years old, in my view definitely becomes worthy of further investigation. However, for some unknown reason, the caves and pipes have never been officially excavated and studied, and the Chinese government seems uninterested in investigating the mystery any further. Surprisingly, local nomads have known of the pipes for hundreds of years, and their legends credit aliens with the construction of the pipes. This may seem fantastical, but the pipes do seem to be embedded deep enough in the mountain to rule out human construction, at least by any known technology used 150,000 years ago. The leading theory is that the pipes are simply fossilized tree roots. However, many people remain skeptical of this theory, believing that the pipes are part of a larger structure built within the mountain, either by extraterrestrials or by humans using lost technology. If this is true, what purpose such a structure could have served is a complete mystery. So what do you think? Are all of these artifacts explained by our current understanding of the world? Or do you think that ancient humans were far more advanced than we often give them credit for? Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, then stick around for lots more. I'm aiming to make at least 1 new video per week. And of course, in the meantime, why not check out some of my other videos? And I hope to see you again soon.